Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Thanks for joining me today. My first project is using a couple of these Dollar Tree Easter signs. These are a great product to use when you're making signs simply because they're easy to cut and you can put them together, make multiple signs, use them just as is. I'm trying to remove the paper. This one proved to be a little bit difficult, but it didn't matter because I'm going to be putting some scrapbook paper on top. I'm cutting the second sign in half just with my utility knife. You can just score these 3 or 4 times and then they just snap really easy. You can then clean up the edges with your knife and you're good to go. I'm cutting this half of a sign in half vertically again because I want to create some rounded edges for the big sign. This is a Pinterest inspired DIY. I saw this sign on Pinterest and I thought it was absolutely beautiful, so I decided to recreate it. So the rounded parts now are just going to be traced with this charger plate, and then I will use my utility knife to cut them out. So now I've got to glue these two pieces onto the original sign, and I'm using another couple of pieces of like this MDF. They were the backs of some picture frames that I kept because they were nice and sturdy. I'm just going to use some hot glue and attach these pieces so they'll hold the whole sign together. So I'm using some scrapbook paper, and this is a cardstock thickness. I got this from a paper pack from Michael's. And now what I'm going to do is just apply a generous amount of Mod Podge and then lay my first sheet right in the center so the whole circle area can be one piece. I'm going to lay the paper down on top and smooth it out as best I can. Because this is cardstock, it's not going to bubble as easily as regular scrapbook paper, and that's why I'm using Mod Podge. If it was regular scrapbook paper, I would probably just be using a glue stick. Taking another piece of the same scrapbook paper, I'm going to make sure to line up the lines on the paper itself, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Just glue the paper down on each side with some Mod Podge. Using my craft knife, I'm going to cut all the way around the edge of the sign using a lot of pressure. I do have a self-healing cutting mat underneath here because I want this to be a nice crisp cut. If you're not sure what MDF stands for, it's medium density fiberboard, and it's what all of these signs from the Dollar Tree are made of. You can also buy larger sheets of this at your hardware store. For this sign, I decided to use my Cricut and cut out some vinyl, but I will have the free printable available on my website. Of course, the link is down in my description box, so go ahead and click there and get to my website and you'll see all the free printables I have available for you. These letters would be super easy to trace out from the free printable by using the transfer method of either graphite paper or using your pencil on the back of the sheet and tracing it out to get the outline. The last thing I'm going to do is just use this makeup sponge and some black paint and go all around the edge of the sign. It's going to cover up that wood color, and it's also going to leave me a little bit of a black outline on the paper, which I think turned out absolutely fabulous. Today, I have a wonderful creator collaborating with me, and her name is Chantel, and her channel name is Crafty Hints. Chantel does a ton of farmhouse decor, which is true to my style, so I love her channel. She's just starting out, and I would really appreciate it if you would go over there, click that red subscribe button, show her some support, and make sure you view her videos and give her a thumbs up as well. This next project is using some of these palettes that I got at my local Dollarama store for $2. You could also use the Dollar Tree wood planks to recreate this. That would be super easy to do. I'm just going to cut them down using my utility knife, and if you score a little bit on one side and then on the other, these snap just like the MDF board. This is another piece of MDF board. I got this in a 6-pack from Dollarama for $4. This is about a 10 by 10 size. And what I'm going to attempt to do again is create a barn shape. Now, I'm doing it this way, but I have created a template for you guys, and I will have that on my website so you can download it and manipulate it to whatever size you need it to be. Now I'm creating the roof, and what I want to do is create some square dowels. Now I do have square dowels that I can get, but I know sometimes they can be tricky to find. So I wanted to give you a different way of making a square dowel. So you could use popsicle sticks. I am using these bamboo sticks that were an oops Amazon purchase. I thought they were much bigger than they were, but I'm using them up in my crafts. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces for each square dowel, and then I'm going to hot glue them together to make one piece. For the roof, I wanted to make it look like it was metal, so I'm cutting out a piece of this Dollar Tree cookie sheet, and then I'm going to cut smaller strips and wrap each of those wooden dowels that I created into it and then glue them together. I'm going to cut any of the extra aluminum down to size, and then I'll just hot glue these pieces right onto the roof line. I'm going to use hot glue to first apply the pallet pieces, making a box behind the barn. Once I've got the pieces glued together, I want to make this a little bit sturdier, so I'm going to use my brad nailer, which is part of my staple gun, and just shoot a couple of brad nails into the sides and into the front of the barn to make sure that everything is secured together really well. Now, the next I'm going to do some trim work on the front of the barn, and in hindsight, I probably could have done this first before putting the barn box together because now I had to stand up and do everything in a standing position, which is fine, but it's just sometimes more comfortable to be sitting down. I'm taking these same little bamboo pieces, and again, you could use popsicle sticks or some dowels or anything else that you have, just some strips of wood, and I'm using my handy dandy miter shears to cut the angles and make sure everything fits really well. I've got the 2 top trim pieces glued down. I've also got the frame for the door, and now I'm just working on the angled pieces, and you can see that I'm really off with this hot glue, but no worries, it's very easy to just scrape that off and you won't even be able to see it. This angled part is a little tricky to do, but with the miter shears, it really makes the job a lot easier. For those of you who love watching Farmhouse, again, make sure you go visit Chantel and see her video for today. I have put her link to her channel and to the video down in my description box. So in traditional farmhouse style, I'm going to paint this barn red. I've had lots of people say, hey, how come the barn isn't red? So I decided to please all of you red barn lovers and do this one red. I'm going to paint the front of the barn in the red, but I'm going to do all of the wood trim pieces in a chocolate brown color from Rust-Oleum called Cocoa. And I'm then going to do the same thing with the box at the back. It's going to be brown as the accents. No classic red barn would be complete without a rooster weather vane. So I'm taking this stencil that I got from a Martha Stewart farmhouse stencil pack, and I'm going to trace it on the aluminum from the Dollar Tree cookie sheet, and then I'm going to cut it out. I made my own arrow and my own post for it because the little arrow was a little too small and it was really difficult and fussy to cut out. I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to all of my viewers and subscribers. I could not be having this much success without you guys, and I really, really appreciate your support. I am over 18,500 subscribers, and I'm so excited that my channel is growing. I could not have done any of this without all of you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. If you like what you're seeing, I would really love it if you could hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the notifications so you don't miss out on anything I've got in store for you. For the last little piece of my weather vane, I'm just taking a little piece of dowel and I'm rolling it up in the tin, and then I'm going to glue that all together. And this will give me something sturdy to glue on top of the barn. I'm gluing the weather vane right on top of that, and then I'm going to use some hot glue to glue it to the top of the barn. I really love how this barn turned out, and I hope you like it too. Thanks so much for watching my video today. I really appreciate it. Make sure you go down to my description box and click on Chantel's link as well. Subscribe to her channel and help her grow too. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that you did like it and they promote my channel more, which makes me grow even better. Thanks again. See you in the next one.